All right. Yep. It looks like we're live. Oop. Let me turn this on. Is it going? Hello. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Hey. Let's see. Audio level too low. That's not good. Let's see if I can fix that. Pose panel, mirror, automatic light conversion. No, that's not it. None of that's it. Why is it not working? Got this running, got this running. So many things to run. Let's check this out. Preferences. There we go. Okay. There we go. Hey, now I got a mouth moving. Oh man, this is why I haven't tried to do this sooner. I need to get on here with you guys and hang out. Let me get my eyebrows all fixed up here. There we go. How's that looking? Looking better? Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys. So I've been kind of avoiding this because of failure. I don't want to fail, and I'm gonna fail, and that's how you learn. I don't want to fail. It doesn't feel good to be failing, but here we are. We're going to check this too. It's crashed a couple of times already on me. I think I figured out the problem. But if I go, switch over. Ooh, look at it. Now we got our website. All fancy. I'll switch back. Okay. So today, what did I want to talk about today? Let me scoop back actually. As you guys know, I've got a full-time job. I do ASG for fun and free and just to help others kind of figure out planted tanks. They're a beast. Yada, yada, yada. So I work on content when work's a little slow or I've got some free time and everything kind of fits in and fizzles through being a husband, kids, work, all that jazz, as we see too with, let me adjust this, taking care of our aquariums. Obviously, sometimes we don't have a week where we can do a water change. We have to skip it, and that's just kind of how life is, right? So all that to say, I want to start doing live stuff because you guys can ask questions in real time with me and I can answer them very quickly. I spend most of my time running through Facebook groups, trying to help others, answering questions, that kind of thing. But, it helps others. It just doesn't, I feel like I could help more people on YouTube, I would say, especially those that appreciate the ASG method and are trying to learn it versus me just kind of like arguing with randos online. So with that being said, I want to do this more. This is my push today to go live, to figure out the kinks and all this other jazz that I'm dealing with on a regular basis, like OBS crashing 3 times now. This is my 4th time trying to do this. So I appreciate you guys hanging in with me while I'm trying to get all this figured out. Without further ado, today I wanted to talk through the ASG checklist. And if anyone was live, they could ask questions on there's different aspects, parameters, things of that nature. So I'm going to switch screens here and pull up the checklist. Now, this is free for everyone, not a paid thing. If I go to shop, go to documents and swag, we go down to ASG checklist. This is basically a shortcut to run your tank and be successful right out of the gate. Some people use it. I've had a couple people ask questions about it after the fact, after they downloaded it, which is pretty cool. But it goes over metrics for filtration, nutrients, water parameters, lighting, and CO2. The big 3, and if you guys saw the video of the talk I did at Scape, a local, like a fish tank meetup, quote unquote, air quotes in the air, fish tank, nutrients, lighting, and CO2 are like the big 3. And then from there, you get filtration and water parameters. If you got lighting, nutrients, and CO2 where it needs to be, water parameters and filtration generally aren't something I will address unless we got the big 3 in and we're still having issues. Then that's when we want to be, checking things like hardness, GH, KH, stuff like that, filtration. If you're still getting algae, do you have enough filtration to pull out something like ammonia and you keep getting staghorn, all that jazz. So I was thinking today I'll go through this. And if anyone wants to pop on and ask questions, they can do so. Let me check something else here as well. Let me make sure that I am officially live. There we go. Update this. Yeah, we're live. Okay, cool. 2 live viewers. Do I see that on my end? And if you are viewing, pop something in chat for me real quick, just to make sure that it's working. Oh, there you go. Yeah, they'll show you back again. The problem with your channel is that you are an advanced aquarist. Well, Yes, yes. And what I'm trying to do is break down metrics, break this down, the science in the 5 pillars. Amateurs, unfortunately. Yeah. And that's why this exists. That's why I want to do these live go through. So live chats per se. You guys can ask questions. And the Australian opinion, if you want to hang on live with me and ask questions, you're more than welcome to. That's why I'm doing this. And we'll go over the big 5. Now that I know I got everything working, let's hit it. So the big 3, nutrients, lighting, and CO2. Within each of these parameters, we have variables, which are these check boxes. I try to lock down the variables to have as little variables as possible. So when we're making adjustments, we're adjusting one thing per section per se. So looking at lighting, 8 hours. I do 8 hours a day all the time. I never mess with that. You can go up to 12, 15. People run crazy hours and little hours too, like 4. But I've just found that over time, 8 hours seems to be like my cornerstone, and I lock that down. Don't mess with it at all. In the Australian opinion, ask questions, dude. Okay, within that, what does change? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Another lockdown. If you don't have CO2 injection, you're doing natural, not injecting, just natural levels of CO2, naturally available CO2, I should say. Keep it at 80 to 85 par at the substrate. Don't go higher than that. So now we have time locked in. We have our par locked in. And if you are injecting CO2, you can go up to 120 at the substrate. Now we're only messing with spectrum to some degree. 8 hours a day is my schedule as well. That's what's up. See? Easy. Done. Lockdown. We have on our website, let me see if I can pull up another one. Aquascape guide. We'll go to blog. And I have all of this stuff that no one touches. Or I feel like no one touches. Well, I guess no one hangs out with me on my forum, but c'est la vie. Dialing in your programmable LED. This was a study that was done by a couple universities that found out that plants just love a ton of red, a little bit of green, medium amount of green, a little bit of blue. So how this kind of ends up looking like is something like this. Now we can adjust this ratio up and down to get 80 to 85 par at the substrate. So when looking at this, we have lighting locked down with a metric, or I should say par locked down with a metric. How long we're running it locked down with a metric, and the spectrum as well. Par talk, unreal. Even most reefers have no idea. I know. But photosynthetic active radiation, right? The light's ability to stimulate par. We also have PER, so photosynthetic usable radiation. So to the Australian opinions comment, we need to have the right amount of intensity, but not only the intensity, in a spectrum that plants can uptake. So the opposite, a bad PER, PUR, would be putting a reef light on a planted tank. It's flipped, right? Reefs love coral, like SBS, love really high par, and the PERs like a lot of blue, some UV, and like red, green, all that is pulled way down unless you're running like a microalgae tank, something like that. But it's like the flipped spectrum from what plants need. So going back, if you guys want to read the article here, this is on the website under the blog section under lighting. You can read through the scientific data for this. There's sources down at the bottom if you want to just read the straight studies themselves. That's it. That's lighting locked down. Never will have a problem again moving forward. 80 to 85 par, no CO2, 120 par with CO2, 8 hours. If you have a light that you can adjust, use those parameters. Boom, done. Easy peasy. Okay, moving on to CO2. I always inject. I'm going to always teach to inject. I just recently wrote an article about algae, and everyone focuses too much on algae when they should be focusing on their plants and keeping their plants super happy. And I say in the article, if you keep your plants super happy and thriving and growing like crazy, they're going to produce alleochemicals, which are a natural, I can say that fast, defense mechanism against algae itself. So people are always trying to, yes, there are root causes. I go into that in all my blog. And you can look at and address the root causes, yes. But if you just take care of your system and take care of your plants, they're going to deal with the algae. So the only one that I can think of that is a variable in this one is injection rate. And we'll go into why. So what are the non-variables? The tried and true, just stick with this. CO2 off at night. Yes, it starts 1 hour before your lights come on, and CO2 turns off 1 hour before your lights turn off. Done, right? That one's easy. We want to make sure during this process, you get a full point pH drop before the lights turn on. And then it needs to stay there throughout the duration of the photo period. We don't want it, getting down to 1 point pH drop, lights come on, everybody's happy, and then the pH starts to go back up. Then we know we're not injecting enough CO2. That's this one up here, right? And this one too. Now, the only thing that I'm playing with, since we have time locked down when it comes on and when it turns off, and pH, we have a target. We know we need to hit a full 1 point pH drop. The only thing that's left is flow. So just adjusting your little needle valve to get to a point where you've hit that 1 point pH drop and then stayed there throughout the duration of the photo period. So that's the only variable. Everything else is locked down. We don't have to mess with, I guess one variable may be like your method of diffusion. And the only one I can really think of that would be a variable would be if you're doing a ceramic disc, like a diffuser, an in-tank diffuser. Putting that in the back corner where it has no flow isn't going to be good. You want to put it somewhere where the microbubbles are going to get pulled up by circulation, by a power head, by the outlet of your canister, and that gets pulled around your tank. That's the only variable there. So even just following this stuff here, you're going to get pretty dang close to where you need to be with CO2 without any issues and hopefully without any confusion. Nutrients. Let's see. Any other questions? None so far. Okay. We're doing good. We're cool. Looking at everything else here. 11 minutes in, so I can tell there. All right. I'm kind of liking this. Next is fertilization table. Okay, so a non-variable lockdown, aqua soil. Always run an aqua soil. I'll actually, let me refine that. Run an aqua soil where you're going to have root feeding plants. Oh, fuck me. It crashed again. Did I crash? Let me see. Am I crashed, you guys? Oh, OBS. OBS, where are you at? Okay. Am I back? Can everyone hear me okay? All right. See, dang it. All right. See, dang it. I'm crashing again. OBS keeps crashing on me, not sure why. I'll try to get through this one. If it just doesn't work at all, then I'll have to figure some stuff out. I'm back. Yes, I am. Thank you. Again, I'm going to try. If I crash, I'm going to try to just keep getting back in. I figured it out this time around. So here we are. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Always run an aqua soil. What I was saying was always run an aqua soil. All right. I did something else. We're going to see if this works. Let me actually kill this altogether. I'm running two. Okay. I killed my character. No! That's okay. Anywho, we're going to see if we can get through this because I want to get through it regardless. The character's just for fun, obviously, but the information is what I want to relay. It seems like we're doing okay. So, all right. Well, we're going to keep trying. I'll try one more time. If it crashes, it is what it is, and I'll try to get back on here later this evening. Okay, so for the third time, if you have somewhere where you have root feeding plants, and this is anything with a root on it, okay, people, we get so many people who argue with me, epiphytes aren't root feeding. They are. They can feed from the water column as well, but eventually they'll want to work their little roots down into the aqua soil. Have an aqua soil wherever you have root feeding plants. You can do gravel, sand, somewhere decoratively if you want. Outside of that, okay, locks that down. Use a holistic fertilizer. I really like Thrive. Thrive is great. Easy Green by Aquarium Co-op is great. ASG fertilization kit, can't go wrong with that, obviously. And what we're going to do is we're going to dose, and a lot of people don't know this, we're going to dose enough of this fertilizer to boost your nitrates up 5 to 10 parts per million, not to exceed 20 parts per million. This is hard for a lot of people because they want a million fish in the tank. And then they complain, and you see it all over Amazon listing for Thrive. It raised up my nitrates. It's like, yes, it's supposed to, but it's raising up more than your nitrates. It's raising up your phosphates, your potassium, and all your micros in a balanced table. What happens is then fish on top of that add a bunch of crud and crap. And that's how we run into algae and algae issues. This is why I teach big water changes, 50%, 75% if you have an issue, sometimes almost just leaving enough for fish to be able to swim around, and replacing it all with fresh water. A lot. The planted tanks love fresh water. For some reason, father fish and other people just don't want to do the work for some reason. I don't get it. But the best thing you can do for your tank is a water change. So with nutrients, what we're doing is we're pulling out all the crap. We're putting back a fertilization table that is balanced. So again, the big three, obviously I'm going to recommend the ASG fertilization kit. But if you don't want to deal with the 2 parts and all that jazz, we're a very stable upload connection. Yeah, I have one. I got a gig up, down, up, one of those, gig down. I'm hardwired. It's now that I'm not having issues, it's I think it's the connection of the character, but we'll see. So anyways, the big three, ASG fertilization kit, buy refills for it, super cheap. You can customize it if you want. And then it's got a lot more potassium than any all-in-one. If you don't want to deal with that, obviously, and I'm not pushing it, Thrive is really good. Easy Green is really good. I would stay away from CChem. Their fertilization line is they want to have you dose like 20 bottles, which I don't like for us as hobbyists. So that runs that. Let's see if your plant runs out of a single nutrient. Yeah, so Liebig's law, the minimum states, and this is why I don't like the lean method. That speed, but cannot have dropouts, fingers crossed. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm trying. I want to do this for us. I want to be able to answer questions and things. I'll get it figured out. If your plant runs out of a single nutrient, it will just stop growing. And Liebig's law of the minimum shows this. Let's see if I can Google it real quick. Liebig's law of the minimum. I reference it a lot. Here we go. This image right here. And it says, let's see. Yeah. Growth of the plant is limited by the nutrients that is in shortest supply, regardless of how abundant other nutrients may be. So a good example, lots of light, right? Zinc, copper, not enough potassium. Plants are not going to be happy. They're not going to be thriving. A lot of fertilizers, like Thrive has a good amount of potassium, but some just, they lack it. And again, we're going to run into issues. Ceilings, what's the opposite of a ceiling? You're just being held back to some degree by not having enough fertilizer. So again, going back, we want to do big water changes, and export of organics and waste and detritus and rotting, everything. And then we're putting back a balanced fertilizer, a balanced nutrients for our plants. And that's it as a whole. Pretty easy. And CChem, not so much marketing. It blows my mind. Products are so much. Yeah. Look at this real quick with me here. CChem's dosing schedule. I found this the other day. Look at this. Okay. Each one of these bottles is around $10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've already done Excel. 6, 7, 8. 8 bottles. Oh, we did iron. So that's $80 right there. That's crazy. And then 9, 10, 11, 12. And that's if they're $10. Some of these are over because I retail them. Certain things I like. Flourished Advanced, that's a whole nother topic we can get on with another day. I just started playing with it and it's pretty dang cool. But it's an amino acid. It's not like a fertilizer. But look at this. This is what they want you to dose. This is crazy. This is so crazy to me. Anyways, Thrive, ASG's fertilization kit, Easy Green. I don't care what you use. All of those are going to do well. Bam. Nutrients as a whole. If you guys got questions, ask them. That's locked down. That's it. That's the big three. Lighting, nutrients, CO2. If you got those down, you're good. If you got those down and you're still having problems, then that's when I tend to look at water chemistry. Most people, dare I say this to keep it easy, as the Australian opinion pointed out, I am more advanced, and yes, I'm trying to share my knowledge and experience with those that are starting out. I try not to get people onto RODI water at the start. The reason why is if water changes are sustainable, we're going to do them. And all my teaching is water changes. Like if you got a problem with your system, water change. I said in the article I just wrote today, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I totally stand by that. So big thing is get an API GHKH test kit and test your water. I've got a video on that on YouTube. It talks about how to go through testing it all, what to do. And if you're far from 4, and I'll be more specific. If you start getting into the double digits, you're going to start having problems with plants and the uptake of nutrients. So unfortunately, I lived in Long Beach, California many years. Plants would do okay. I'd toss moss in my tank, die in 7 days, straight to jail. I would toss neon tetra in my tank, straight to jail. Like everything would die. Certain things would be fine. Other things would die off. So this is where I got into water chemistry. Tested my GHKH. It's at I think it was a 28 for GH and a 24 for KH. Crazy. This is when I started getting into RO water. If you're that hard, you're going to struggle unless you've specifically created a tank for hard water plants, like epiphytes, like cichlid type tanks, plants and animals that love hard water. You have to stick with that to some degree. Otherwise, your chances of you failing are pretty high trying to put soft water plants in a hard water tank. I guess really quickly, RO water is basically just H2O, no mineral content. What we're doing is diluting the hardness. We're diluting the mineral content in our tank. Let's say if you had a GH of 20 and I took 3 parts RO DI water and 1 part tap water, we would bring our GH down to 5. It's linear. It's a linear equation. I don't like, personally, if you're going to do like a try-hard tank, RO DI water all day, every day. Little RO buddy. I've got one. I've used it for 6, 7, maybe 8 years. Oh, yeah. I guess close to 10 almost at this point. Shoot. I love the little thing. It does great. You get a little bit of wastewater, off you go. Not a problem. It's night and day from using tap water and all the crap that comes in our tap, fluoride. They got all this crazy stuff that we don't need or our plants don't need in our tap water. It's best to just get rid of that stuff. If you have a try-hard tank. If you're trying to try less hard, you can try your tap, but if you're in the high teens and the 20s, you need to make sure that you just have hard water plants. Okay, that's pretty much it. If the big 3 are set up, check your water parameters. I've preached to death about 50% water changes, 75 when you're having an issue. That'll make sure there's no buildup of ammonia, nitrites, phosphates, all that jazz. And then we're using a holistic fertilizer to put back the nutrients at the levels we need it. The water you're using are free of, I guess this is a good thing to talk about. So when I was at Long Beach, Long Beach, California, GHKH really flipping high. I moved to Crestline, California. I'm there now. I've got a GH of 7 and a KH of 4. That's pretty dang good. So I jumped off of RODI water for a long time, probably 5 years or so, until I started running a tank that I got a ton of hair algae in. And hair algae is caused by phosphates. So I'm like, what's going on with my phosphates? Because I know it's under control with the ASG fertilization kit. I'm not like overdosing phosphates versus, going on here and dosing, phosphate bottles and you don't know what you're doing. Come to find out, I had 0.5 phosphates in my tap water. Not only that, the hardscape I locally sourced was leaching phosphates. So I was running 2 parts per million of phosphates constantly. That was the problem. So we have to make sure things that can be apparent in our tap water and they're good to test if they're high and won't come down with water changes. Nitrates can be in our tap water. I've seen phosphates. Chloramines, people don't talk about much. Chloramines are a chlorine and an ammonia molecule smashed together. I don't know more than that, other than when you dose Priamine or some sort of dechlorinator, it'll pull out the chlorine, but it doesn't pull out the ammonia. So then we got ammonia left in our tank. A lot of people that have staghorn, I ask them, what's your filtration like? If filtration is where it needs to be, which I guess maybe we'll knock out too, since, about 20 minutes we're in. What was I saying? Oh yeah, if filtration is where it needs to be and it's pulling out the ammonia, which is good, doesn't mean that we're not still feeding the tank ammonia and feeding staghorn ammonia. So then I generally check if you have staghorn. After filtration is good, do you have chloramines in your tap water? Yes, I do. Well, there's your problem. Unfortunately, the only way around chloramines is an RODI unit. It'll pull, again, everything out and you just pure H2O and then you put back what's needed. Mains, pH, GH6, 12 is horrible. I use Mountain Portable. Fresh water out of the boxes goes up. Yeah, that's pretty good. And you know what? A KH of 6 and a pH of 8 means you have extra hydrogen in your water. If you were to throw, and I can get the equation, vinegar, a little bit of vinegar in your water, your pH would come down a nice amount. A KH of 4 should put you at, well, if it's a bicarbonate, not a carbonate, if it's a bicarbonate, put you at a pH of around 7.0. So if you're at a 6, you should be like a 7.2, 7.4 maybe, depending on if it's a carbonate. But your pH is artificially high. Let's look at that before I leave. We'll look at the ratio of vinegar you can add and drop down, because that would help make things more neutral. You have extra hydrogen. It's not being supported by carbonates or bicarbonates. And yeah, GH of 12. Once I get into double digits, that's where, I don't know. I try to help hobbyists when I mentor them. Try to stick with 12 and we'll get as far as we can get. And then at the end of the road, that's when I ask them, hey, do you want to attempt RO? Or are you happy with your tank? And then I let them decide, right? Again, if it's sustainable, it's going to happen. I want to make sure that happens with water changes. I want to make sure water changes happen for people because they just drop off and then the tank goes to poop. But a KH at 2 and a GH of 6, that's decent. That's pretty much where we want it. I've actually been running my main display tank. I started filming content for Tropica. Excuse me. I've run no KH on it and haven't had any problems. Fish are fine. Plants are fine. So that's been interesting. I don't want to recommend it yet because I haven't had enough time with it. But yeah, I'm finding out we don't need a lot of carbonates. And let's get to the last thing real quick, and then I'll let you guys go. And I'll try to figure out what the heck's going on with my character and Phyl. Big things with filtration, 10 times turnover. If a filter says it'll do 300 gallons per hour, that's good for a 30-gallon tank. Don't listen to Fluval. Don't listen to what's on it. Let's actually pull this up because this is important to speak to. They're saying it's for 40 to 7 gallons. That's not the case, and I'll show you guys why. I feel like it's inflated. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. Here we are. Find a retailer. Where's the specs on it? Okay, here we go. Here's the good stuff. So, aquarium capacity. Ignore this. 20 to 40 US gallons. That's for a 207. Sorry, back here. 40 to 70. That's not. So here, pump output. This is just a pump. This has nothing to do with everything that's inside the filter. This is just a pump. We'll do 300 gallons. You would think could be good for a 30 gallon if you're doing the 10 times rule, right? Nah, wrong. We put sponge filters, we put coarse filters, we put filter floss, biomedia, chemical filtration, all in that. And then the pump has to get it through all that and back into our tank. I've seen it drop off about 30%. It's still pretty dang good if you're running it on a 30 gallon, by all means. But look at it. Here you go. Actually, they have it in here. Filter circulation. They just started putting this. So if it shows you, I don't know if I would run it on a 20 gallon, but after it all said and done, after everything's in it, you're getting close to 206 gallons per hour. And if you move a decimal point over, we're looking at a 20 gallon. It's crazy how much they inflate this. If someone tried to put a 307 on a 70 gallon, blows my mind. I don't know why they recommend that stuff. And do not get me started on crappy hang-on backs and sponge filters. I could harp on those for hours at this point. Go back to the checklist. We have service our filter 4 to 6 months. I generally service it when I start to see a lack of flow. I won't service. I'll go maybe 2-3 months without messing with it. I try to keep mine a little cleaner because I run filter floss. That gets gunked up and really does kind of stop with flow in the tank. Specifically, my problem with flow is getting CO2 around the tank. Circulation, not necessarily turnover. That's why I service mine a little more. But if you're cruising and you're not getting a lot of stuff pulled into the filter, you could easily go for 4 or 6 months without servicing it. And then yes, you need all filters. I don't care what filter you're running. I highly recommend you not only pack your filter with mechanical and biological filtration, obviously dedicated like biomedia versus, mechanical side sponges, but to have them separate from each other. And this is why I hate sponges. I'll go into my 2-second rant. Is as soon as you squeeze out and clean out your mechanical filtration, there's a chance you can screw up your biological filtration. Yes, you can get away with using sponge filters, fine, but I don't like them. I don't like them, and I don't like to teach to use them because I want to limit, as the Australian opinion said, I want to limit the amount of screw-ups, the opportunities for screw-ups that newbies can have. And this is why I have this checklist and everything lined out the way it is. This isn't for an advanced hobbyist. This is for someone wanting to get into plants and just wants to go down and check off boxes to make sure they have everything fine. Do not rinse filter contents with tap water. This is another controversial topic we found out, and I don't follow this rule. We found out that there is nitrifying bacteria in water systems like tap water systems, municipal water supply systems, that have nitrifying bacteria within them. So we know at this point that chlorine doesn't instantly wipe out beneficial bacteria. There's a contact time and then also concentration of chlorine that plays factors, variables again, as I speak about, that are going to cause issues. Most people's chlorinated tap water isn't going to cause a problem. You're going to have a bigger problem with leaving out your beneficial bacteria, or let's say your biorings or whatever you got, C-Chem matrix, on the counter in a tray while you service everything and everything dries out. That's going to nuke everything immediately. You can rinse it out with tap water. It's not going to hurt anything. Just keep things really wet. If you're worried about it, then just use tank water to get everything cleaned out really good. I like them separated because then I can just go nuts. I can go ham on cleaning out my mechanical filtration and my filter floss and have no worries that I'm going to crash my cycle and have any issues with biological filtration. The Australian's opinion, my 10-liter tank kit came with 100%. That's crazy overkill. Yeah, and in a 10-liter tank too, like you can kind of come down a little bit on the 10 times turnover, I think, because the water volume is pretty small. But yeah, things are gonna get pushed around if you have a lot of circulation in a nano. I've got a couple of nanos. Well, have kept a couple of nanos. I've got a 6-gallon now. That one I've got the mini ASG canister on, and that'll do 8 times turnover. 10 times, 8 times? No. 10 times in an 8-gallon. It'll do 80 gallons per hour. But the cool thing is it has a variable pump on it that you can turn things up and down. And if you're getting too much flow and things are getting kicked around, then you can dial it back a little bit. I changed my people costume watch at $8. Yeah, no, that's not massive OCD. I'm going to keep reading. I do miss mains water. Haven't used it over 3 decades. Yeah. I know and everyone says, just use your tap water. Tap water's great. I use my tap water. Not all tap water is created equal. I've got soft water on the mountain here with phosphates in it. And then I had really hard water in Long Beach, California, with no organics in it at all. And some people have really soft water, but then have a ton of ammonia in their system or in their tap water because it's technically, maybe it's well water or something like that. So never trust anyone that says, oh, use your tap water, it's great. You have to know enough to ask them, okay, what's your GH, what's your KH, do you have organics in it? And if they can't answer that, then don't listen to them at that point. Just came with the but, so dense that it's good for the beta over the beta. Yeah, and you can do things with outlets. Like I sell the bulb outlets for the ASG canister that kind of keeps flow from hitting the tank. It lowers circulation for beta tanks. That's great. Also, I was on Stardia Trailblazing. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, and the last thing too that I want to comment on is filter floss. You get a big roll of it, super cheap. You can cut it up, throw it in your filter. If you've never ran filter floss once, run it for 48 hours, a bunch of it. Throw all of that away, and then put new in, and then you can rinse that new stuff out. And you can rinse the new filter floss out for like 2, 3, 4 months. It'll start getting like it's falling apart, and that's how it loses its rigidity. That's how you know that it needs to be replaced. But you get a roll for well, before tariffs, 15 bucks. I think it's like 19 bucks now. Lasts you like 2-3 years and makes your water super crystal clean. And the Australian opinion, I'm old. Yeah, I'm old too, but old is subjective. It's a mindset. I don't know. Let's see here. It seems like while you play non-stop live stream ads will play while you watch. I don't know. YouTube did something weird. Oh, this guy's talking. Okay. Anywho, I'm turning 40 this year, so yeah, I feel old. But again, this is why I've been wanting to help everybody out. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to back out of this. Check out the ASG guide checklist if you're having troubles. See how many of these you do not have checked, and what you don't have checked, you know you have a deficiency in your system, in the way you've designed. No joke. I'm not saying my approach is the best. I'm not saying you have to do this by any means. I'm saying if you follow this checklist, you won't have you won't have problems. I'll stand by that. This is it. This is all you need to run a planted tank. Now, some people say, "Oh, I can't afford an aqua soil." Okay, you can try root tabs, but know that you're limited. You've limited the design of your system to delivering nutrients. Oh, well, I want to run a GH of 18. Okay, just know that your plants probably want soft water, and you're just not giving that to them. And this, if you follow this, and if you have an algae problem and you follow this, your algae will 9 times out of 10 go away. The only thing I can think of that isn't mentioned on this is cyano, which I was talked about in the article I wrote today. Cyanobacteria is a bacterial infection I treat with an antibiotic. I use ChemiClean, which I sell on the site. That's the only thing that water changes pretty much won't kill. Okay, we started first aquarium 50 years ago. Damn, that's awesome. What? So how are you not an advanced hobbyist? You're an advanced. You're just cloaked. You're cloaked. Great checklist. Really good info. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the compliment. I'm going to end it on that. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with Phyl, see if I can get that more stable. And if I can, he'll be back in the next one. I don't care to show my mug on these things. I will if I have to. My mug's on other podcasts and things. So, I might have to do it if I have to do it. But other than that, see, yeah, you are an expert. You are an expert. On that, you guys, I'll say goodbye, good night, wherever the heck you are. I'll try to get on more. I'm getting more brave as I go. And hope you guys have a good rest of your day.